Uh, a few pages that I have on Facebook is also streaming live, and I'm also recording it so we can have in case parents want to fall back and look at it. But at this particular time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Huff. She's in charge. I appreciate the leadership she has shown in this and the commitment she's shown in this and serving our Westlake students, family, and community. So Dr. Huff, you take over and I will just be a picture on the screen. I'm not sure if you muted or something, but I couldn't hear you.
Yes, I was muted. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Again, I'm Dr. Huff, Melody Huff. I'm a Medi at Wolf Creek Elementary School, active parent, coach here on SGC, and I have two sons at Westlake. And my experience with dual enrollment has been a little, the information hasn't been as clear as it could be. So this is the purpose of the dual enrollment meetings that we've been having. One of my sons is in magnet program and the other son is not in the magnet program. And to get that information out to parents, I think it's important that we have these type of meetings. So as people are coming on, if you are a school representative, please let us know. But I wanted to go in the order of the experiences and then talk with the colleges to tell us what is needed for dual enrollment and answer any questions that you have. One of the things that I have gotten from counselors and so was that my son would have to leave the magnet program in order to do dual enrollment. I was told that dual enrollment was not one of the programs. And then we also talked about the AP programs. We didn't want to do AP. We wanted to do dual enrollment as a path. And so the AP classes that he's taking right now are not going to count towards the prerequisite classes that he has to get into college. So it's kind of like classes that he's taking that he really doesn't need. So this is some of the things that are happening that we really want to clear up and clarify and make sure no other parent has this same type of experience. And it's just information. It's not anyone's fault. I think it's just a lack of information that's out there. So let's hear from, and I introduced Suzuki and her mom is Miss Tucker, Suzuki Tucker and Stacy Tucker. Suzuki is one of just someone I'm very proud of. And I know I just bragged about her earlier, but she's 19. She's graduating from nursing school, 4 years. And she was a part of dual enrollment at Langston Hughes. And then we have her mom who really helped me significantly because she helped me. She went through my schedule. She went through King's schedule and told me what classes he needed to take and what classes would transfer over, what schools we could look at to make sure that he had everything that he needed and he wasn't just wasting time in classes that he wouldn't even be able to use to get into school. So if anyone wants to go, I would like to hear from Miss McDaniel to introduce Chattahoochee Tech while she's here. Thank you so much for coming, Miss McDaniel.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So with Chattahoochee Technical College, we offer a lot of different varieties for dual enrollment students. So 10th graders are eligible to take our CTAE technical classes. We offer technical classes in a really wide range of areas. So they go anywhere from like hands-on technical studies like welding and joining, carpentry, automotive technology. We offer classes in business like marketing management, accounting. We offer public and professional services like cosmetology, criminal justice technology, early childhood care and education. We offer computer science classes like computer programming and cybersecurity. We offer digital media studies, so like television and movie production technology, as well as healthcare classes. So getting into nursing, EMT. So those are live, those are offered for 10th graders, and then 11th and 12th graders can take those classes, as well as any core classes. So English, math, science, history. And so we are a technical school. A lot of students actually, because you get 30 credit hours of funding. So that's typically about 10 classes that some students can finish and have a certificate in one of our program areas. Or we also have a lot of students that just focus on the core classes. We do have an agreement with the University System of Georgia that there are 28 classes that are guaranteed to transfer to any of their institutions. And these are those basic core classes that, any bachelor's degree, you're going to need to take your Englishes, your maths, sciences, so they can start at Chat Tech and they can transfer over to those public Georgia institutions like Georgia State, KSU, UGA, and they may transfer to out-of-state or private colleges, but the student just has to talk with the admissions offices at those schools just to see if they'll transfer over. Based off where you guys are in Atlanta, it's about we have 8 campuses. The closest one is going to be our Marietta campus. It's right off of Marietta Square, so it'll be about a 35-minute drive. Our Paulding campus is also about a 40-minute drive. However, if that is not feasible, we also offer a lot of online options, especially right now due to COVID. We've offered even more online options, especially for those core classes. So if your student is looking into doing, their English and math and stuff like that, all of those are going to have multiple online options for them to take it. So we have about 5 or 6 steps that students have to complete for dual enrollment. So first, they just have to talk with their high school counselor about, what classes they should take. This is mostly so that they can determine what college classes can be taken back as high school credit. So if they need to get, their senior high school English done, they can take English 1101 with us. So they'll talk with their high school counselor and make an advisement plan on what classes they should take. And then they'll want to go onto Georgia Futures and create an account if they don't already have it. And they'll fill out the student participation agreement, which is also called the dual enrollment funding application. So they'll have a portion to complete, and then you as the parent will have a portion to complete. The second step is just to apply on our website. It is free, so make sure, if they're interested in Chat Tech and they're doing the application, if they get to the end, then, and it's asking for billing information, just go ahead and go back and make sure that they're doing the dual enrollment high school one so that they get the free application. The third step is just to submit that advisement plan that they made with their high school counselor. We have a link on our website. The fourth step would be to upload any qualifying test scores. However, for the rest of 2021, we have waived those test scores. So if the student has them, they are more than welcome to go ahead and submit them. But if they're interested in coming, say in the fall, they don't have those test scores, they can still be admitted the same way. Fifth step is to submit their verification of lawful presence. That is just a fancy way of saying a picture of their driver's license, birth certificate, permit if they don't have a driver's license, permanent resident card. That's just how we determine that they're in state and they qualify for that dual enrollment funding. And then the last step is on our website, we have a dual enrollment funding acknowledgement form that the parent or guardian will fill out. And it's 1 page. It will not take you very long. So there are a couple steps, but, I always like to say for free classes, then, it's worth it. And so like I said, you'll get 30 credit hours of classes funded for dual enrollment. And then after they exhaust those credit hours, they have a couple options. If the student, they can just stop doing dual enrollment and wait till they graduate and then continue on to college. They can self-pay for their classes. For Chattahoochee Tech, our tuition's pretty easy. For in-state, it's $100 per credit hour. Or we do offer the Hope Career Grant. This is for students that are interested in certificate or diploma level classes. It's a specific list that the state of Georgia has made of high need career areas. And so they can get money to help pay for classes. So, and then also textbooks and access codes. will be provided by us. So they don't have to pay for any textbooks. So the only thing that a dual enrollment student may have to pay for is any course specific fees. This is really particularly for our technical classes. Like for cosmetology, they have a kit with scissors and combs that they have to buy. But for core classes, most of the time, they won't really have to buy anything. And then the last thing I'll mention, and I'll put some resources in the chat box as well so you guys can have them. But our deadline for the summer has unfortunately passed. But for fall semester, if the student's interested, the application needs to be in by May 1st. And then we give you 15 additional days to get all the documents in. So all of those other documents are needed by May 15th. So I think that's kind of what I have with my spiel. I will put stuff in the chat box for some resources, but I'm also going to, stay on and I can help answer any questions that you guys have about Chat Tech and dual enrollment.
Thank you so much, Ms. McDaniel. And like I said earlier, Suzuki is one of the students that came out of Chattahoochee Tech and very successful. And if we could hear from Suzuki and her mom about their experiences with dual enrollment.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I am Stacy Tucker. I'm the mother of Suzuki Tucker, who you see here. Suzuki started dual enrollment in the summer after her 9th grade year at Langston Hughes High School. That's where she was, going to school. You cannot enroll without an actual transcript and grades. So it wasn't until after her 9th grade year that she was able to apply. That summer, I think was it 3 classes I made her take that summer? So I think she took about 3 classes. It was a little rough, but she got her feet a little bit wet. And then that following fall semester, she was taking, I think, 5 or 6 classes. I believe it was anatomy 1 and 2. And it was like maybe, I forgot what math class it was, maybe college algebra. But the reason why we chose dual enrollment, let me just take a little step back, is because Suzuki was already in honors and she was already in honors in AP classes, I believe. And it was getting to the point where for her, for how she was structured, things became a little bit unorganized. She wasn't knowing when she was having quizzes when she was popping into class, and she had so many other things. And plus she also was an athlete. She was also running track, also playing volleyball. So it became very difficult for her to manage, the AP honor schedule that she currently had along with playing sports. So she had actually took the magnet program test. She did actually test into Westlake, and it became the decision whether or not she wanted to continue with Westlake because she was already at Langston, or to go on to try the dual enrollment program. So she chose the dual enrollment program because she felt like it's going to count for my high school credits, and it's also going to count as to the college also. She was getting, basically in her mind, a 2-for-1. Also, I had promoted to her that in college, if your child is very particular, there are syllabuses. So they know when their tests are coming, they know what assignments to do. It's already mapped out for them for the most part, with some slight changes. So we went on with the dual enrollment. Like I said, she started in the summer. We kind of already knew she wanted to go on the track. I actually gave her an option. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? She really didn't know, like, what kid knows what they want to do. But we did end up choosing the nursing program, and she actually ended up focusing all her core classes and everything that she needed to take around trying to get into nursing school. So just a little bit of more information, Suzuki ended up graduating with 80 college credits, which she matriculated most of those at Chattahoochee Tech in Marietta. And one of the classes I think she did at Atlanta Technical College, I think, or Atlanta Metro, I'm not sure which one it was. But that's where she completed most of her college, just because I felt comfortable. I know Chattahoochee Tech is definitely a school where all their credits transfer into Kennesaw. And at one point she had her eyes set on going to Kennesaw. So that's why she chose Chattahoochee Tech. Also, it was close to her father's job. So if he needed to take her, pick her up, it was an easier school for her to go to than some of the schools more in the South Side area. So that's a little bit on that. It was just a little bit difficult because I think when I started the dual enrollment program with Suzuki, there was not a lot of information out about it. Most of the schools that were more like, I actually found out about the dual enrollment program by seeing billboards in Paulding County on the way to one of my clinicals. And that's how I found out about it, for people to go to Chattahoochee Tech. And I just kept seeing the sign and I decided to go online. So that's how I found out about it. So by the time I went to Langston and I was like, I want my daughter to do this, nobody really knew what I was talking about. And the information didn't trickle down to them yet. And at the time, if you can just back up a little bit, dual enrollment was only for 11th and 12th graders. It was not for 10th, 11th. It was not for 10th graders, especially none coming out of the 9th. It was only for 11 and 12. Sometimes some years just for 12th graders. So there wasn't a lot of information that I think I just caught it when they opened it wide open to whoever who can show that they have a transcript and a will to want to go to school. So for Chattahoochee Tech, she had to take a placement exam. It was a simple basics placement exam, math, English, reading, something like that. But for school, like if you want to go to like West Georgia, they might require, if you're if you're in the 9th grade or coming out 9th grade or 10th, they will require you have an SAT score of probably about 1,1500. It depends. Then when you're in like 10th grade, they lower the SAT score to probably about 1,400, 1,300. So the higher you go in grade, the less they the Tech, they all have different. Can y'all still hear me?
Yes, you kind of, but you blacked out just a little bit. It's okay, we got you.
Okay, that was my headset that disconnected. So it depends on what school you want your kid to go to. They all have their own rules on how and who they let come into their schools. But all schools are pretty much open. The only school that that I would not suggest going doing dual enrollment for, if your child wants to go to Emory, I know with them, they don't. If you had to choose a credit, if you use English credit for high school, you cannot use it for credit at Emory. So they won't let you get the 2 for 1 there. So you have to make sure wherever your child has their eyes set on wanting to go, make sure that school is going to accept both. And you really need to call and ask somebody. That's not something that your counselor would know. As a parent, if you're really looking at wanting to do this with your child, please do not say to your child that, oh, this is something you want to do, you're in college now, and throw them out there to the wolves, because you really have to be a big, big part of this process, because you have to help the counselors. They're on a whole nother wavelength when they're dealing with high school students. So they don't have that many students in the dual enrollment program where they have the know on what's going on. For example, Georgia Military College was one of the schools that Langston normally worked with. I think Suzuki was the only kid going to Chattahoochee Tech. So deadlines for class schedules, payment due dates are all different for Chattahoochee Tech than compared to Georgia Military College. So you have to keep your counselors abreast of what's going on. I would say leave a paper trail, email everything, and then call. I hope there's no counselors on here, and call harass later, so definitely leave a paper trail of what's going on. I definitely had to do that. All the counselors definitely didn't know me at Langston. And if I didn't get someone, I ended up showing up there, especially if there was a payment due. But it was definitely something you have to work, and you cannot let your child do alone. I want to just make sure I don't leave anything out. So she went mostly Chattahoochee Tech. One of the biggest challenges for me as a parent was just at some point, thinking, was this the right thing? Because in the manner in which she did dual enrollment, because there was no limits to how many classes you can take, is she losing out on her social life, as far as, as a child, she don't get these years back. But my child's a little different. You have to really know who your child is. And she wasn't really into a lot of those things. She was definitely focused on finishing and want to get through this process. I definitely like to do the program, because when I looked at the school she's going to, we saved about $70,000. So just a little bit of information, 80 college credits. She got accepted to 2 nursing schools. And she graduated from over 60 of her credits was done at Langston. She finished her maybe a year and 3 months at Pembroke High School. That was the original school she went to. She wanted to go back to be with her friends. She said that, she didn't go to school anyway, so it's not like she needed to be in the building. So she ended up graduating with the kids she grew up in elementary school when she actually got to graduate. So she did 60 credits with Langston. She did the rest with Pebblebrook. I'm trying to remember what my train of thought was. So we did save $70,000. So she did enter into Augusta State University as a junior. Okay, so she entered as a junior and last year. So she's graduating in May, and she entered straight into the nursing program. So she was just doing the nursing program, and she'll be graduating May 13th. She'll be graduating. I'm very proud of her. It was very rough because like again, the social aspect, you have to know your child. She was 19 and most of her peers are 22, 23, some of them in their 40s for what she was doing for this particular program. So you just have to really know your child. It's not going to be all peaches and cream. There's going to be some yelling. There's going to be some screaming. There's going to be, hey, you need a plan. There's going to be some, you got to organize. There's going to be some, there was a lot of tutoring that had to happen. We had to, and I wanted to share, and I'll probably put it in the chat box for any parent. I want to tell you why Xant.com has saved my child from failing out of plenty of classes several times. I want to say with college algebra, just to give you an idea what she did her last senior year, Suzuki took 6 science classes her senior year. She was taking anatomy 1 with a lab. She was also taking microbiology with a lab, and she was also taking physics 2 with a lab on
Ms.
3
Tucker,
different college campuses. Yes.
could you repeat that website one more time, please?
Type it in the chat box for you, Suzuki. Type
Okay.
the website in the chat box for them.
Thank you.
So her senior year, she completed, she was at Canton, Ackworth, and she was at University of West Georgia in, where's that at, Suzuki? I can't remember, it's South.
I went to the Noonan campus for University of West Georgia, and then for Chattahoochee Tech, I went to Canton and Ackworth. So I was taking classes in 3 different cities.
Just so she can finish, so she can get into the nursing school program. And on her senior year, we didn't find out till later that when she did drop 1 class early when she first started. And this is something that's important. You have to make sure kids don't be dropping classes because it's really going to mess up their high school schedule. She ended up dropping anatomy. That didn't hurt her because that's not something that she needed to graduate. But her senior year, she was having a real rough time with microbiology, and she wanted to drop it and just say, I'm not going to apply for the nursing program. I'll just have to take microbiology when I get to school and then wait a year and then apply for the nursing program. Her counselor at Pebblebrook told her that wasn't an option, and she had to fight through it, in which we spent a lot of money on Wazant.com, got her a counselor. Her grades went from I think they were 40s and 50s to late 80s. She was able to pull a counselor and pull through. I want to say a couple of days after she was trying to drop the class with the counselor, she got the acceptance letter from Augusta University that told her she made it into the nursing program. So I think that kind of fueled her fire. And then a little bit after that, she got another acceptance from another college in Macon. I can't remember the school, but
Ms. Tucker,
yeah.
Ms. Tucker, I think we have a few questions. I keep getting so close into this camera.
Sure. And I'm gonna give Suzuki a chance. To talk. I'm sorry, I'm such a helicopter mom. I'm so proud of my daughter. So Suzuki is my only child. She's my only child. That's all I have. So I was real particular on how we grew into her growing up. So she's a very smart child. I tried to make her do STEM and stuff with science as far as engineering, because she's so good in math. She's been a math whiz all her life, but she wasn't feeling that. So we chose nursing. But if you have any questions, and I should give her a chance to talk. She's not much of a talker. She's kind of quiet. So I don't know. Mama's a talker. She's not. But Suzuki, you got anything to say before I ask any questions?
I mean, you pretty much said everything, but I want to talk again about dropping classes. I know I know they changed the rules for dual enrollment every year, but when I was at Langston Hughes in Fulton County, and I dropped a class, they just completely took it off my high school transcript and everything. And then when I ended up transferring to Pebblebrook, because that's in a different county, it's in Cobb County, they had changed the rules. And I don't know how it is now, but I think if you drop a dual enrollment class after the 10th day of enrollment in that course, I believe you will receive a grade of a 10 on your high school transcript. So it's better that you just kind of just fight it out if you can. But that's the only thing I really needed to say.
You're on mute, Melody. You're on mute, Melody.
There was a question. There's my son at Renaissance and some other parents in the chat talked about their children taking classes in the 8th grade that counted toward 9th grade. So they get into high school with 9th grade credits already, and they're they have 10th grade classes that they're taking in their 9th grade year. How can we prepare we've kind of passed that point because they've already started taking these 10th grade classes. How can they prepare going into 9th grade, knowing that they have 10th grade classes? Because they can kind of jump right into dual enrollment if they have those classes, correct? Or if Ms. McDaniel, Suzuki, and can talk about that. And from that point, what should they do?
Before you answer that question, can we have a few questions that are in the chat? So I wanted to get those answered first. The first one is asked from a Zoom user, where will the recording be posted?
It would be posted on Facebook, and we will make sure that we'll send it to Fran Warren so it can be on the parents of South Fulton, and we'll also post it in the PTSA. And I do want to say that this is being hosted by PTSA Family Engagement and Westlake SGC. So they will be on both of those both of those pages, social media on Facebook, and we'll make sure we put those links also in the chat.
And we have the next question from Ashley Ramos. She's asking, what schools allow students that are leaving 9th grade and entering 10th grade? What schools allow students that are?
So basically what schools can go to, because we were told that in 10th grade, they had to have an ACT, SAT, like all these things. But as I'm reading the information, it says actually that they can enter. They may have to do certificate or just technical, but then if they have certain grade point averages, they are able to do dual enrollment. So maybe Ms. McDaniel can answer that question about 10th grade coming out of 9th grade into high school.
Yes, so like I mentioned before, 10th graders can take, at least for Chat Tech, I know it's probably different at other schools, especially like universities that don't have technical classes. They can take the CTAE occupational classes. If a 10th grader wants to take core classes, they have to either have a 26 or higher on the ACT or a 1200 or higher on the SAT. And then they have to turn those scores into the Georgia Student Finance Commission site so that they can see if they're eligible. So that's if they want to take core classes like English, math, science. And then I don't know if this question also is asking about the summer, but particularly at Chat Tech, we go by when the high school will promote the student to the next grade. So say a rising 10th grader wants to take it over the summer. If the school promotes them in May when the graduating class leaves, then they can take the CTAE classes over the summer as a 10th grader. But if the school won't promote them till August when classes start, then they'll have to wait till the fall because then they'll be a 10th grader. I know that's kind of confusing, but hopefully that kind of clarified 10th graders and what classes they can take, at least at Chat Tech.
I wanted to just jump in. I know at Westlake, we had to go through a reclassification. So if you are coming out of a middle school where they are taking 9th grade classes, you may want to talk to your counselor about getting them reclassified as a sophomore or reclassified as a junior coming out of their 10th grade year. And if there's any counselors on Westlake that could talk to this about reclassification, or if that's a good idea to move into dual enrollment.
Hi, I'm Sheila Jackson, one of the counselors at Westlake. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Usable reclassification. Fulton County prefers that students remain with their cohort class until second semester of their 11th grade year. So if you are a 9th grader and you want to be reclassified as a 10th grader because you've taken some courses in middle school, so you may have enough credits to be considered an 11th grader, a grade ahead, but we wouldn't reclassify you technically until the second semester of your 11th grade year. Now, in terms of dual enrollment, we pretty much will promote our students in May so that the rising 10th grader could participate in dual enrollment. So we would be one of the systems that promote early, so they would have that advantage, and so we would not exclude rising 10th graders from dual enrollment if they wanted to take the CTAE classes. And once again, like Ms. McDaniel said, she's absolutely right. If you're interested in taking core classes, then you would have to have the 1200 on the SAT score or a 26 on the ACT, or 1200 at SAT. So I hope the
Question, Ms. Jackson, is when you're in a magnet program and you want to do dual enrollment, what is the protocol or requirements for that? That's a question.
whether the protocol for dual enrollment applies the same for magnet, whether you're magnet, not non-magnet, it would be the same requirements for that institution. Now, the conversation in terms of dual enrollment for magnet student, it can get a little complicated, especially if that magnet student is IB and they have a full diploma, or if they have IB classes that are only offered at a certain time. We would never tell a dual enrollment student they couldn't participate. I mean, an IB magnet student, they couldn't participate in dual enrollment. It just, we have to be a little bit more creative with scheduling because of the Westlake schedule, the IB commitments that the student may have, coupled with dual enrollment. So it just gets a little complicated, but it's definitely a conversation to have with the counselor if a magnet student is interested in dual enrollment.
Because couldn't the college courses take the place of the AP courses? Like, they wouldn't need AP courses because they'll be in dual enrollment taking the college courses, right?
That is an option. That's a conversation once again with the counselor, but that is an option to take a dual enrollment class as opposed to taking the AB course to satisfy magnet requirements.
Insa, you have some questions from the chat?
Thank you. And we have Ms. Pearson King, or I guess Mr. or Mrs. Pearson King, the enrollment counselor from Georgia Military College here as well. But yes, we do have another question from Michaela B. Is there a deadline to apply to Chat Tech for the fall? And I see the answer in the chat. So Michaela, I hope you saw that answer there. There's another question from Ashley Jackson. Is the workload manageable to be a magnet student and also enrolled in dual enrollment? Oh, that was answered, I guess.
Yeah, that was the question I kind of asked too, because that class can be replaced also. Kim Bill has her hand up.
Thank you so much. This has been great so far. And much like you, Dr. Huff, we're a bit clueless. And so this is extremely helpful. Thank you. So my question was going to be more along the lines of what you asked, Dr. Huff. As the parents of a magnet student, what we're trying to understand is if going the magnet route is something to balance with dual enrollment or replace with dual enrollment. And I realize it could be a personal decision, but what I'm trying to glean from this is the value of a magnet seal on your diploma versus credit hours toward, free credit hours rather, toward classes that count for college. In addition to that, my second question is, if our students were to take dual enrollment classes, how does that impact their high school GPA? Because at some point still, they would have to apply for a four-year college, I'm guessing, and that GPA would still come into play. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. I know someone who, Ms. Tucker, helped me with that question as far as the classes. Ms. Tucker, are you still on the line?
I'm right here.
Okay. Did you hear a question?
I kind of did, but there was multiple questions. Which one did you want me to speak upon?
Ms. Bell, would you mind repeating that last part?
Did you mean like, I think she said about balancing, like choosing magnet or going dual enrollment. One of the things I wrote down that I didn't get to is that she had the choice of going to Westlake for magnet program, and she also had the choice of going to dual enrollment. I already know some people that went to Westlake that did dual enrollment program, and I know that they were in extracurricular activities, and it is quite a bit to balance. I guess I would foresee is probably there is a way to do both, but it could not be in the capacity in which my student was doing it. Absolutely not. I wouldn't even recommend someone to try to do it somewhat in that way. I want to say one of the benefits of one of the things I kept hearing from Langston, which kind of annoyed me at times, I guess it was because my child was the only one matriculating out to Chattahoochee Tech, and was that my daughter wasn't getting the rigor that she needed because she was taking more college courses and she needed to stay in the building to do, I guess, honors and AP, which was very difficult for her, and that the colleges might not look upon it as so. But I can say that that's not true. When I did go around at a college fair there, they was very impressed with her. The fact that I think at the time she had completed maybe 30 and she was on her way to going for more. So the only downfall is that because she had so many credits, and that's probably not going to happen for y'all. But again, dual enrollment changes like every year. They change the rules all the time. Like even I'm listening now, I'm like, really? You know, so a lot of things have changed. So one of the downfalls was that my daughter really wasn't eligible for a lot of scholarships because she had over 60 college credits. She was not required to apply to college with SAT scores. They didn't care for them. They didn't need them. They didn't even want to see them. After completing 60 college credits, they consider her to be a college student, and they didn't even look for those things. But then that was a downfall when applying for scholarships, not really being able to apply that she took her SATs. However, there were some, for people of color, there are, especially if you're in medical, there are some opportunities for some scholarships, some really big scholarships to get to help you make it through school. So I think one of the downfalls is if you do too many credits or you do close to it, is not having a good SAT score to get scholarships, or being considered that you don't need them, and being hard to get scholarships if you go mostly the dual enrollment route.
Thank you so much, Ms. Tucker.
Can I
We
speak
also
on
have
that as well?
What'd you say?
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I just wanted to speak on that as well.
Okay, yes, is this Ms. King?
This is
Oh, no,
Suzuki.
this is Suzuki.
Oh, hey, Suzuki, I apologize. Go ahead.
About the, I guess the benefits of the magnet program. I wasn't in the magnet program, but I know some colleges like the magnet program because it kind of looks like a career path. So I think that's pretty much the only benefit. But I would say that dual enrollment is more beneficial than the magnet program because you are getting done with your classes in less time. And then it's showing that you can take college classes with I'm assuming with more rigor. So that's all I was going to say.
Thank you, Suzuki. I wanted to introduce, and we're going to come back to that too, because it is a question about how to move over from the 2-year or from the technical schools over to the 4-year colleges. So if you all can think about that, but I wanted to introduce our principal, Mr. Adams, and we also have Ms. Pearson King, the enrollment person from Georgia Military College. So we can have Mr. Adams, who has really been supportive in dual enrollment and getting the information out. There's been several meetings before this one. Again, we thank you all for coming. And Mr. Adams, if you're on the call, you can unmute yourself, please. Thank you so much.
All right, well, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. Like she said, I'm Jarvis Adams. I'm the principal here at Westlake High School. Sorry the young lady didn't come to Westlake, but we're not gonna hold it against her for being a Panther. We support the Panthers as well. I don't know about that Pebble Brook part, so I don't know. So anyhow, the whole thing for me is just to provide information. And I think the parent alluded to it earlier about knowing your child. So my goal, and I thank the PTSA and the SGC for working collaboratively on this, on just getting information out. And so magnet, IB, dual enrollment, they're not competing forces. I think the key to it is to know your child and what works best, and sit with your counselor as a thought partner to explore those options. And as you can see, 80 hours, this young lady was able to accept so many hours for free. Right now, the free is 30 hours. And so it's in our best interest to share knowledge, institutional knowledge with our people, and then let you make the best decision that works best for your child. But I wouldn't try to get into which is better for your child. I mean, which program is better, because each program will fit each child differently. Just like IB doesn't fit every child doesn't make a magnet program. So every child will not be a good candidate for dual enrollment. One of the things that I think the representative from Lincoln Tech spoke about that I really like about dual enrollment on a personal level is the exploratory learning opportunities. And so the last parent meeting we had here, I spoke heavily about the offerings of trades at places like Lincoln Tech, Atlanta Area Tech, and West Georgia Tech, and some of the avenues your child can explore if it fits. If you have a child like mine that's going to do her own thing with law, so she believes right now, but like the parent said, what 16-year-old knows what they want to do? But she wants to go next year and get a cosmetology license, right? And so there's nothing wrong, to me, there's nothing wrong with that. My wife may disagree, but there's nothing wrong with that. And then she goes to FAMU and she chases her next dream. It's about just enjoying these moments of being young and exploratory learning. When I was in high school, you were either college prep or you were technical vacation. They call it vocational back then. I love working on cars, but I wanted to go to college and play football, so I couldn't take any of the vocational classes that I would have really liked to have taken. And just who knows what you can do with a skill, and you have the aptitude for college. Who knows what type of business you can convert your skill into. So I would just highly encourage parents to look at the trade aspect. It's enough money in Georgia for scholarships to pay for college. We only get these kids for a set amount of time in our households. And right now, with the way things are with mental health and emotional health and all that, it's okay to let them take some time and enjoy just learning in life. And other coaches, they call it a gap year, where they take some time to decompress. You know, if we got in a car and tried to go to California and then take a break, we'll all be crazy when we get to California. So just parent to parent, you know, I would just advise, let your child do some exploratory learning. Maybe they change their mind after, 15 credit hours, but it didn't cost you any money. And you have a child that has went out and explored and owned some of their own learning. But please do not try to compare magnet, IB, dual enrollment. Just get to know all the information about the program and pick what's best for your child. And that's it. If I have any questions, I'm open.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Insa is going to take over the chat, and then we'll also have Mrs. Pearson King from Georgia Military College speak. Insa?
I think, Mr. Adams, there was a question about summer school. Do we know if summer school will be available yet? Do you have that answer?
So, yes, after a 2-hour meeting today, I do have that answer. So if your student has an incomplete from first semester, or if they receive an incomplete from this semester, there will be a face-to-face option for summer school to clear up those incompletes. Now, if your child fails a course, if they have a F in a course, they will have to take that course through Fulton Virtual. So what Mr. Menace, our AP, talked about today was running a second credit recovery for both, for those kids that have failed and for those kids that need to complete eyes after spring break, to try to free this summer school up, because a lot of our kids do not do well on Fulton Virtual. And the principal from Banneker, Creekside, they mentioned the same thing in this meeting, that Fulton Virtual, we don't want to set our kids up for additional failure.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Adams. Ms. Pearson King, if you could go ahead and introduce we've introduced you, but if you have anything to add, it will be great. Welcome.
Well, okay. So can you hear me okay? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. Here to talk about Georgia Military College. So I had a little slide. It's not going to be long, so don't worry. I'm going to run through this slide and give you information about Georgia Military College, the what, when, and how to apply with our school. We have students that attend currently from Westlake, so I'm excited to be here tonight. So let me just go over this presentation with you really quickly here. I'm going to share my screen.
So Ms. King, are you able? Okay, I just want to make sure you were able to share.
Okay. All right, again, my name is Lachey Pearson King. I'm one of the enrollment officers here at the Georgia Military Campus at the Fairbrand campus. We are one of 15 campuses, and so I'm going to go over what we require for our campus here. So this first page I want to show you is a picture of our school. I'm sure you probably have seen this school before, but we currently occupy 3 buildings on this beautiful campus that you see here. The white building that you see there, which I'm going to try to point to, is our administrative building. This is where our Dean of Students is located, Ms. Natanya Moss, as well as our admissions team and financial aid. And across the way, you will see our academic building, which is where most of our classes are conducted. And right next to this building here, you will see our main parking lot. This is where our students will park if they decide to take a course on the campus. You cannot see the other building that we occupy, which is our Student Activity Center here. But here in our courtyard, we often have activities and all students are welcome to join. So let's go over the steps to dual enrollment. It's really simple. The first thing you have to do is speak with your high school counselor. That is the first most important step when you're deciding on if dual enrollment is right for your child. The next thing you would do is apply. You would apply just like any other student would apply. So you would go to our website, which is located at gmc.edu, and don't worry, this will be repeated at the end of this presentation. Then once you have completed your application, we need to see your transcripts. Those transcripts have to come to our admissions office in order for us to review them and to let you know that you've been accepted. Once that is completed, currently we usually ask for ACT or SAT scores, but at this time that is waived. So our advising team, as well as the high school counselors, will work with the students to identify the courses that they will be taking at Georgia Military College. And the last part that I have here is to complete the Georgia Futures application online. That is the dual enrollment funding application. That must be completed in order for you to pay for your courses with GMC. Let's talk about who can participate. Well, eligible high school students at private, post-secondary schools, home study students, mostly 11th graders, we see most of them coming in. 10th graders may apply, but I think we mentioned it earlier that they must have SAT scores of 1200 or ACT of 26. So what's unique about GMC? First of all, we need to know, I want you guys to know that there is no military obligation. We are the #1 community college in Georgia, ranked by bestschools.org. We offer small classes, dual enrollment cohorts, which is where we have an agreement with the school to basically teach at the school. So our instructors will actually be on the campus teaching a set of courses that your counselor and your school administration has agreed to allow us to teach on the campus. Those also with Georgia Military College, students have an opportunity to complete an associate's degree with us. As you can see here, we have 80 students that are projected to graduate this year. And if you look at it from 2019 to 2020, you see the graduates are increasing, which is a good thing. Another good thing about us is that we have textbook rental program. That is a program where we allow students to rent their books instead of purchasing those books full price. You would rent those books and return those books at the end of the term. We also offer free tutoring. Our tutoring services are offered virtually. They're offered in-house. They're also, so basically you have various options to get that tutoring that you will need to be successful in those core college courses. You also have one-on-one advising and transferable credits. So when can you enroll? Well, GMC is considered a 4+1 campus, which means we have a total of 5 terms. So we have our summer, fall 1, fall, winter, and spring. Students are allowed to take classes in any of those terms. So you can start classes in summer and maybe take a break fall 1 and come back fall, do winter and spring, or you could do it however you want. We offer classes in the mornings, afternoon, evenings, weekends, hybrid. And hybrid, just to go more in depth on what that is where a course contains a combination of in-seat learning at a scheduled time, as well as online learning components to compensate for the reduced in-seat hours. We also are offering, due to the pandemic, we are offering the remote classes. And what remote is where a course is a live interactive class at scheduled times in a classroom with a professor. Students can participate in the course via streaming services from their personal computer at home, in person from the broadcasting campus, or from a classroom or lab at any GMC location. And as you can see on this page also, you'll see our academic calendar. So we give these out every term, or pretty much every year, academic year, to show students the days that we are out of school and when we will not be on campus. For, if they have any questions or concerns, they will not, we'll give this out every year to each student. All right, so where can we take the classes? Again, we have NC courses. We also do the cohorts, like I mentioned earlier, hybrid, remote. And remote learning, we use a learning platform called Moodle and Collaborate, which is similar to Zoom. That's how our students communicate with their other fellow students and their instructors. All right, so why should you choose the GMC Fairburn campus? Well, you have an opportunity to gain high school credit along with college credit. So that's simultaneously, I'm sorry, let me go back. So, okay, so back to where I was, I'm sorry. So you earn both the high school and college credit. The state funds up to 45 quarter hours. And I want to emphasize our motto, which is start here, go anywhere. GMC's goal is to ensure that students are taking courses that are transferable. And again, I mentioned earlier that you have an opportunity to gain an associate's degree via dual enrollment and along with joint enrollment. And at the bottom there, you will see our articulation agreements. The articulation agreement is a binding agreement between two institutions that guarantees a successful transfer to a 4-year university. I put the link there so that you guys can take, if you want to copy that and take a look at that, you can see the colleges that we currently have our articulation agreements with. All right, so this is kind of a redundant, like a repeat screen. In the beginning, I kind of explained how to enroll with GMC. So again, meet with your counselor, determine if you meet the GPA. Now with GMC, our GPA requirement is only 2.5. So we look for students that have a 2.5 or higher. Upon meeting the GPA requirement, this is our website again, is posted there, gmc.edu. You would apply there and you would use your fee waiver, which will waive your application fee. The DEFBN, you will use that to waive your application fee. So there's no fees for the application. Also have your high school counselor to send your transcripts. Please, students and parents, do not send those transcripts from your personal email address. We cannot accept them. They will be that will be considered an unofficial transcript. Also, at this point, like I said, we don't need any ACT or SAT scores. And of course, your Georgia Futures application. On that application, once you go in and create an account and create a profile, there's actually 3 steps to that side on the Georgia Futures application for us, and I think any other school. So basically you would have to create a profile. Then you would complete the dual enrollment funding application. And then there's a parent participation form that the parent has to fill out. So once that is completed, then the counselors will go in and put the classes in that they will be taking at Georgia Military College. So here, this last screen is our contact information. We have our email address there and our duties listed, as well as our academic advising department and our dual enrollment coordinator. So our coordinator for the dual enrollment program, she handles any questions about the dual enrollment applications or questions about the funding. And at the bottom, you see our telephone number. So that's my little presentation. And I want to thank you guys for listening. And so our mascot, Mr. Burns, would like to know, do you have any questions?
So Ms. Pearson King, if you could put your information in the chat for everyone.
Sure.
That would be wonderful. That was some great information. We really appreciate you being here today to give that information.
Ms. King, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I mean, I'm aware of the agreement that you have with other schools, and I think, what is it, about 40 something?
The agreements, yes, we have approximately around 46 agreements right now with different colleges.
Okay.
Some of the examples of the colleges are like Georgia State, Georgia Southern University. I mean, it's several colleges, Kennesaw State.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've seen the list, but I just wanted, based on what you're saying, so I just want to make clear what I'm about to say, whether it's true or not. So if I have a child and my child goes through dual enrollment, at the conclusion of that part, when he graduates from high school, he gets an associate degree. And also, as part of getting that associate degree, in some instance, instead of him having to apply to certain college, there are a list of 44 colleges that he will automatically be admitted to. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I mean, because I just thought that was important to know. So even if you know that they're doing the dual enrollment, it would also lead to one of the 40-something colleges, like you said, Georgia State, I know Kennesaw, I think some others. So you actually can do the dual enrollment, and also that dual enrollment successfully will give you a list of 44 automatic college acceptance without doing anything additional.
That's correct. That's correct.
Thank you.
And so was there any more questions in our chat?
Yes, there were. We actually had, I responded to Ashley Ramos and Ayana Reynolds. So I don't know if those answers will suffice. But we did have one from Melanie Kenner. Once all applications are complete and my child is enrolled in dual enrollment, how do we keep track of her courses? Will she have access to a course portal for GMC campus? And if you want to answer in the chat, that may be faster since we're at 7 o'clock, past 7 o'clock right now. So if you have the answer to some of those questions and you're the expert, if you could answer those in the chat for those who are asking those questions. Our next question is from Kim Bell. Please discuss the difference between the length of classes on the quarter versus semester system. Princess Asinuka, apologies for mispronouncing your name. If I enroll for the summer entry term at GMC, do I need to enroll in the fall entry term as well? Question from Haj Womack, Ms. King, are any of those agreements with HBCUs? And Caitlin, my daughter has already been accepted into GMC and her counselor is aware of the courses and applied to Georgia Futures. What is her next step? So if we could have the majority of those questions answered in the chat, that would be great. But if they're lengthy and we need to come off of mute to answer them, that works as well. But we definitely thank everyone for coming to the PTSA SGC dual enrollment. And we'll continue with the questions if we need to. We have an email address from Ms. Pearson King if you would like to email her as well. And I think further up, we have contact information from Sarah McDaniel if you scroll up a little bit more. And Mr. Adams, if you could, says, please email him the partnership list. So there's a lot of contact information being shared in the chat. If you have those questions, please write down their contact information. We'll give that a little bit of time. Questions
And
are
I'll add my information also. This is Stacy Tucker. If any of the parents have any questions that they might not think about later, they can email me. That's fine.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Tucker, for coming.
Let me say, I think that Ms. Reynolds has her hand up, but I also want to add that we are streaming this live on Facebook, and I'm also recording it. So we will have the recording. What I would like to ask is those who have contact information from the respective schools, if you can just either probably send that to Ms. Womack, Dr. Huff, and when we make this, when I make this video available, then I can put that information so that way they can watch the video. And if they have follow-up, we can have information for them to reach out to you. And like I said, I think I don't know if Ms. Reynolds' hands had been up for a while or her question was answered, but I know her hands is up. Thank you.
This is Ms. Reynolds. I did put my questions in the chat, but I wanted to be clear about the moving over from the GMC school to an articulation agreement school. It does state that as long as the student has completed that associate degree, that's a guarantee. But does that mean if they've only completed a couple of classes, that's not guaranteed?
For students that complete some courses with us, we're not saying that they're not transferable, but what we do encourage students to do is the schools that they're intending to go or transfer to after they graduate high school, they would need to be in contact with them, because most of the classes that they're going to be taking with us are going to be English, math, science. All of those classes should transfer as long as their grades are, at least a 2.0 average. They should be able to transfer those courses. Now, if they're taking classes, or CTAE maybe courses or something like that, they would have to check with that institution just to make sure that they will accept those credits. But most of all of the classes that they're going to be taking with us should be transferable to most colleges.
Okay, but you have to complete that associate's degree to say you have a guaranteed, I guess.
For the guarantee, yes. For the guarantee, you must complete the 2-year degree, yes.
Okay, and then my second part of the question, then I'll be done. You mentioned 45 quarter hours because you guys have quarters. How many classes does that equate to for a student?
For example, our one class with us could be 5 quarter hours, which equals about 3 semester hours with a semester-based campus.
Okay.
It equals out. It's the same thing, that they all equals out to semester hours.
So
on quarters.
A student could start in the fall, let's say with you, and before Christmas, I guess, take 2 quarters of classes potentially. Yeah. Okay, and that would be, let's just say they took 1 in the first quarter of the fall, 1 in the second quarter of the fall. That's considered 10 hours. Is that what you're saying?
10 quarter hours.
Okay, and then at some point when they've gotten about 45 quarter hours, they could be considered having an associate's degree.
No. Okay. Dual enrollment will pay up to 45 quarter hours with us. Okay. Our associate's degree with us is typically around 90 to 95 credits to get an associate's degree. So students that want to continue with us and would like to complete a 2-year degree would probably have to do the joint enrollment program, which is where students are allowed to pay for their courses on their own and complete the program with us.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I was like, oh, that was quick.
Yeah, it's not that quick.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Before we do end, and I do want to thank everyone again for coming, and I know that there may be more questions. If you all could, all the representatives and counselors, Westlake counselors, please put your email addresses in the chat so that we can post this information on our social media and send this information out to our parents that are in PTSA or SGC. And parents, if you want to put your email in here as well so that we can send it directly to you, we can with no problem. Thank you so much for the counselors, Ms. Jackson. And if that would be awesome if you can put your contact information so we can send this out to everyone. If there's more questions, Insa, did you want to?
I don't have anything more.
Okay. Mr. Davis?
No, I was trying to answer the question somebody asked about where we was blogging this, but I just want to thank Dr. Huff and Ms. Womack for taking the lead on doing this. Like Mr. Adams stated earlier, we're just trying to provide information so parents can make informed decision when it comes to their kids' education. Like Mr. Adams said, it's not an issue about IB or Magnum or AP, but just trying to provide the best information so parents can make an informed decision. That is the reason why SGC and the PTSA just came together just to do that. And we wanted to make sure that we were able to get provide a viewpoint from different schools so parents can get that information. So we think it's important, because I got sold that the 2 years free for college and getting it out the way. So that was like once that, and so just look at it. It's not like, just don't want to have any misinformation that the PTSA and the School Governance Council is trying to get rid of IB or AP.
No.
We're not trying to do any of that. And I think I've heard that might have been some discussion. We're only trying to provide information on dual enrollment. Other people have taken advantage of it. I'm gonna say it again, other people have taken advantage of it, and we heard it, but we didn't do anything. We didn't look at it. So all we want to do now is, here's the information. Families get together, sit, make a decision, what's best for your child. So again, I just want to thank Dr. Huff and Ms. Womack for leading out on this. And this is just one of those efforts where our SGC and our PTSA is working together to keep our community informed. So that's all I have to say. Just stay safe, and I appreciate everybody participating.
Before we do leave, I do want to make a public service announcement. We are also having a business fair pop-up. This will be the first of Westlake's kind. This business pop-up will be virtual. And what we're trying to do is bridge the gap and also share information between businesses in the community and the businesses that are inside of our school community. So you can vend, you can vend at the virtual fair. You can advertise your business at the virtual fair, whether you're a student, a teacher, community member, whether it's home-based or not. We'd love to see you.
I'm sorry.
We'd love to see you participate. And also that information, I will post the bit.lys inside of the chat so that you can participate if you'd like to, just attend and see what businesses are in our community. Also the schools, if you'd like to come, we'd love to have you there too. So I wanted to make sure, please join our PTSA Facebook page and our SGC Facebook page so that you can get all of this updated information. And Mr. Adams, thank you so much for your support. And parents, thank you so much for coming. Ms. McDaniel, Ms. Tucker, Ms. Pearson King, thank you so much. And Suzuki, you're awesome. You just blow me away. Thank you so much. Miss and Insa, my partner in Westlake Crime. Thank you so much, PTSA, because we've been able to do a lot with the magnet program, with everyone within the school. We've done a lot of collaborative work. So this is another thing that we're doing. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming.
Have a great night.
Thank you. You can email me. I'll put my email in the chat.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you all
Good
so much.
night.
Melody, you staying on?
Yes.